Hello everybody, my name is moshedpotatoez and today I'm bringing you a sort of special video because today I want to talk about some of the ideas that I have for upcoming Souls titles. So for the pretty much successor of Dark Souls. And the reason I'm doing this is actually EpicNameBro. Like, he recently started a discussion on the whole topic by just uploading a video with his ideas. And I felt like I could sure go ahead and contribute to that and just present some of mine. So let's start, and here we go. So the first thing that I've written down is that I would like the world to be even bigger and more diverse. Yes, it's a fairly easy thing to say, but I would very much appreciate that. I mean, just taking a look at the progression that the Souls series did from Demon Souls to Dark Souls, with Demon Souls being hub based and having gates to different worlds, and then Dark Souls being very open world. I feel like they could now in the next game do even more concerning that, because while Dark Souls has a fairly big world, I think they could do even more verticality, so you have even higher areas and all that, and maybe even also add more mystery to the world itself. That's something I really liked with the DLC, the Authorities of the Abyss DLC, that the world you were in was really mysterious. For example, I don't want to spoil anything, but in the Ulasil township, you have all this blue goo on the ground, and I was while running through that, I was like, man, what the hell is this? What's going on here? What happened here? And I feel like some of the earlier areas in the game certainly lack this mystery behind them, because Undead Parish and Undead Burg are fairly straightforward in terms of their setting, and I feel like they could do more and just have the area more or less reflect its story. So for example, the areas could have a specific background story. I don't know, Anorlando being the region or the city of the gods or whatever, of the giants. And I think Anorlando does a fairly good job with all the statues and all that, and it has certain mysteries behind it, and I really like that, and I think they could do more regarding that. And also with the whole theming, I believe they could go even more insane. For example, one thing I really like about Dark Souls is that it's not just your typical areas, it's not just your typical enemies. Enemies are huge and very weird looking even. But then again, they have fairly straightforward ones as well. Once again, just the hollows. I like their the story behind them, but then the design of them is fairly straightforward, and I believe they could do more and even go more crazy, so you just pretty much end up being more amazed by the world. And that's about that. That's all I have for the world, so just some ideas regarding that. So the next point that I've written down is a bigger focus on the covenants, and this is something ENB already mentioned, but I just want to add my own thoughts. I guess most of it is gonna just repeat what he said, but yeah, let's just start with that. So first thing I've written down is just more faction style situation with rivalries and such. The only example that comes to my head now is, it might not be the best, but it's World of Warcraft with the Alliance and the whatever the fucking other thing is called. I've never played World of Warcraft. But you make a decision, you commit to one side of the whole overall situation going on, and you then have a certain connection to that side. You are a representative of that covenant or faction or whatever, and I believe that should be more important. There's already kind of stuff like that already in Dark Souls, with, for example, the Sun Bros being very loyal to their covenant, But overall, like, having the covenants be more connected to the story, I guess, would be a good idea. To have you decide what you want to be, and then have the covenant even be more, I guess, entertaining. Because, for example, some of my friends that play Dark Souls, they don't really use covenants, although I believe that this is such a great feature, and I believe it's just because they aren't implemented as well as they could be. And for example, one thing that they could do in order to make them more important is just add more specific items to the covenant. So if you upgrade your covenant rank, you get more stuff. If you do more for your covenant, you increase, I don't know what, maybe not increase stats, that is probably not a good idea, but just have more stuff given to you when you really commit to your covenant and do work for them. For example, with the Dark Wraith, how you then get a certain, like the Dark Armor set. I think that's a really good thing, that you get stuff from that, but just by giving humanity might not have been the best solution. I would have liked it to be more, well, I would have liked it to be much more of a task than just using all the humanity you've collected up to that point. And then also what kind of goes along with that, so namely like the covenants being more specific, and with this whole rivalry situation that I would like to see, there could also be like hub areas, so that, for example, your covenant is like, I don't know, like lives in a certain region of the game. I don't know, what could be a good example? So for example, that the New Londo ruins would be like the area, the hub area of the Dark Wraith, for example. And you could be very like predominant in that area. So for example, if somebody else goes there, you have like you are just dominant and cause more terror for them. Fairly similar to the way it's like with the Dark Forest and the Forest Hunters. I believe like just having this connection to the world via the use of covenants would make for a very interesting overall situation. And as I said before, the whole like rivalry situation would be very nice to see, at least in my opinion. And then the next point that I have is that they should add specific upgrades for armor, so much like you have with weapons. Because I mean, weapon upgrading for me is very interesting. There's a lot of stuff to do, maybe also unnecessary stuff, like ENB mentioned, but I really like the way that you can just go ahead and customize your weapon the way you want it. And in complete contrast to that stands the whole armor upgrade system, which is very just plain simple. You can just upgrade it to like +5 or +10 or whatever, and then that's it. That's all you can do. And I believe they should more have you like choose specific paths, like specific upgrade paths. So for example, you can, I don't know, turn your armor into a crystal armor set. So for example, your previous Black Knight armor is then a crystal Black Knight armor, and it looks a little fancier and blue, but then has maybe increased stats but less durability. Or maybe you can turn it into some more fiery armor set so that it's more resistant against fire, but then again has some other downsides. I mean, you could now say like it's less effective against water, but there's no real water stuff in Dark Souls. I mean, and I don't think waters would be such a good thing to add, but I guess you know what I mean by that. So that you can just upgrade and more or less customize your armors, much like your weapons, so that you feel connected to them a little bit more. Because sometimes I really feel like connected to my weapons, because it's something I really put a lot of effort into, and just by then making a decision in terms of the upgrade path, I end up really liking that weapon. If it turns out to be good, that is. But yeah. So those are pretty much the main points that I have right now. Those are some just very basic ideas. A topic that I'm afraid to tackle because it's a very, I don't know, it's a hard topic to tackle, is the whole like idea of PvP and how to just like improve on the overall competitive scene of Dark Souls, because there hardly is one, or there is no real one, because it's hard to really like do tournaments and all that stuff. And that's also something ENB discussed it, but for me it's a very hard topic to talk about, because I wouldn't like it to be like separated from the overall world, so that you just go to some area, then enter a menu, and then you can just, I don't know, search for game modes or whatever, or even with the armor set that you can, I don't know, just buy or purchase or unlock almost like completely separate from the single player experience. I don't really think that would be a good move. I like the way it is right now, with the multiplayer being very close to the single player experience. So I don't really want to express any opinion on that. I can see where the people are coming from that just want maybe the next game to be more PvP oriented. But yeah, that might be something that's really hard to decide on, at least for me. But hopefully you enjoyed the few ideas that I have. I would really appreciate some feedback on those. And I do agree with EpicNameBro. I also think we have a chance now to at least somewhat influence the next Souls game, and I just really would like you to contribute to this discussion, support EpicNameBro's videos, even support mine if you enjoyed it, if you thought my ideas are at least valid. But that's about it, actually. That's all I have for now. Maybe there will be a follow-up when I finally have the time to sort of get my thoughts more focused on the whole topic, because those were just some things that were right at the, or were coming right from the top of my head. Alright, that ends it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. As I said, leave some feedback and just contribute to the discussion. So thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.